Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Relix, and today we are going to go over the LA Kings third quarter season review. So I have all my notes here. I got everything laid out. I went into some details and looked over the team very carefully. And coming off today's win off the Devils in a 5-1 win at home, things are looking good right now. I'd say decent. Before like the end of January, going into the All-Star break, it was not looking so good. Honestly, it was still disastrous, and a lot of the players on the team look pretty bad. And I mean, even to this day, even like right now, after even though we've gotten quite a few wins now under our belt, it still looks bad. So, I just want to take a look real quick and go over the records. So I have all my notes here. So basically, January was not very good. We only won 2 games. After the half season review, which was against the Dallas Stars, I believe it was a 1-5 loss, right? After that game, we lost, we lost 3 regulation losses. 1 in a shootout, 1 in overtime, and then 2 regulation wins in January. So that's not really good. Going into the All-Star break, we did get that last win against Nashville 4-2, but overall, it wasn't a very successful end to the month. After the All-Star break, obviously, as we know, Todd McLellan was let go, and Jim Hiller took over as interim head coach. Overall, it's not horrible. Like he's done a decent job, but it's not like we were when the Kings first started the season. We seemed like we were unbeatable. We were one of the top teams in the league. I will give him praise that he doesn't overreact to situations, and things seem to be more calm right now. But that doesn't excuse the results, and the results really are that yes, we came off of a 4-0 win after the All-Star break against Edmonton. However, then the next game, his second game, we went 0-7 against the Buffalo Sabres. So, still had hiccups. Again, I didn't blame Todd McLellan. If you guys watched my Todd McLellan fired video, you guys will know that I said I do not blame the staff. I blame the players. The effort is just not there, and it's still showing. It was still showing to start the month of February after the All-Star break. However, we still continued to fight, and in the end, we started to win games. So we strung together 4 straight wins after that loss, and then we went again a loss in regulation against Nashville. Again, these points against the division and conference teams, they need to, we need to win those. And losing to Nashville is one of those we just couldn't. We shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Then we went against the easier Ducks, and again, it still looks scary because the Ducks are one of the bottom teams of the league, and we only won in a shootout, 2-2. So that's not really good. There's not a lot of scoring. It's not a lot of goals, especially against a team that sucks. And then we went on the Canadian road trip, and we lost 2-4 against Edmonton, 2-4 against Calgary, and then somehow miraculously beat Vancouver 5-1. So that was kind of impressive. Coming into today's game, which is the first game of March, we beat the Devils 5-1. And as the broadcast crew on TNT said that, the Devils have been going through their struggles as well. And so, honestly, this was a winnable game. And even though the first 15 seconds did not go our way, obviously with a horrible bounce off the glass and straight to Hershey to Meyer for the first goal of the game, 5 straight goals and 5 straight unanswered goals, no less, from the Kings. It was beautiful. It wasn't their best game by any means, of course, but I would definitely put it as one of their better games of the season. It was definitely a collective effort. So that's the bright side going into this third quarter review. So overall, in the time from the half season review to now, The record stands as 10-7-2. So basically, you split your wins and losses 10-9 total. The overtime losses being, two of them. But I don't count overtime losses as just sideline stats. I count them as straight up losses, because if you're not winning the games, then you're not going to go far, right? Because that means you're not putting in the effort to win the games and become champions. So like I said, as the record stands, it was, from the past review, it is now 10-7-2. So overall, yes, it still looks good. It's more wins than losses. But again, all the teams right now in the Western Conference are tight-knit, and we are fighting for a playoff spot. Obviously, with some recent events, Vancouver is starting to fall, and Edmonton's starting to rise to number one. Obviously, they're not there yet, but they're like right behind them. And then the Golden Knights, they're losing all of their games as well. So with games in hand, we'll only be behind by 1 point. We could easily take that third spot in the Pacific Division, and the Golden Knights could be put in their wild card spot. We never know. So it's an interesting race, and including the Central too. They're also racing too. I mean, the Predators and the Kings have been holding the wild card spots for a good 2 months now, and you never know when the other teams who are kicked out of the wild card spots may just start to win their games and come back. So it's really close. It is really. I'll show you guys the standings later, but first I want to go over the Kings individually. So let's go over the record first of all. So here's the overall look. I listed the games 1 through 20, which is the first quarter, 21 through 41, the second quarter, and then obviously the final quarter, which we just discussed. Obviously, you guys can see great start to the season, bad second quarter, and then obviously the third quarter, decent. It's not horrible, but it's not great. So our season record comes out to a 31-9-10 with 72 points. It's not too bad. Honestly, it's kind of where the Kings usually are. If you honestly look at the Kings in the past, their records never really scream, oh yeah, we're going to get 100 points on the season, right? So in a sense, this is technically where we want to be. And honestly, I'm a little shocked that we went from the first 20 games to where we are now. So something needs to pick up, that's for sure. Alright, so let's look at the points for the players. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so just as a comparison sake, at the half-season review, Kopitar led the team with 39 points, followed by Kempe 38 and Fiala 37. Obviously, we've switched around a little bit in the past 19 games to get to where we are since then. Fiala has led the team in scoring total with 18 points in those 19 games, scoring 9 goals and 9 assists. Kempe had gotten 13 points, 4 goals, 9 assists, and Kopitar 12 points, 4 goals, 8 assists. So those three, while they were already leading, they continue to still lead, and obviously Fiala is the most impressive of the bunch. Obviously, I think, as I've discussed before, Kempe is probably the most disappointing right now on the season as far as the top 6 is concerned, because I even said it in the player review during the summer that, yeah, he got 35 and then 40 goal season. Sure, he got those the past 2 years. I personally don't think he was going to do it again, and as we see, he's not. And to make it worse, he's missed the past 3 games now with an injury to his wrist. So I highly doubt he's going to make it back. And not to mention, it just hasn't been there, So overall, his scoring touch has dried up, you can say. And I don't want to say, like, I told you guys so, but, we have to look for scoring throughout all the lines. And that's the whole point of having the 4 center line depth, right? Having Kopi, Deneau, Dubois, and Lizotte. That was the whole reason we had great center depth. But now the wingers are here to suffer because not all of our players are playing at their top potential. Not to say that Kopi's not playing at his best, but even him as the captain, he hasn't been leading the team to the best victories possible. A lot of 1-goal games throughout the year, obviously, as well as he's not scoring enough. And I didn't write it down, but Kopi currently leads the team in shooting percentage. Shooting percentage. And I keep saying it. Kopi needs to be the one who shoots on the power play. Kempe misses. Fiala misses. Kaliev misses. I don't know what else to tell you guys. If you also look at who's scoring the power play goals, Kopi has goals. Doughty has goals. Fiala has goals on the shooting from the left side of the ice, not the right, for the one-timer. And he's been scoring, Fiala has, in the past few games on the power play. So obviously, everything that I have been saying about the Kings power play is kind of true. Doughty should be the one shooting. Kopi should be shooting. Fiala is now starting to be able to snipe it, so that's really good for the team. Obviously, with the short stint with Arvidsson coming back, and again, once again, if you guys watch my video on his return, I told you guys so. He comes back, he rushed his injury, he's out again, probably for the rest of the season. You know, there's no confirmation about that, but I personally said, you rush that injury, it's a back freaking surgery injury. He's not going to be able to play at top notch, and he's not going to have recovered all the way. He was expected to arrive end of February minimum and early March, and yet we played him in the middle of February. That's a mistake, and unfortunately we lost our right-handed winger again. So disappointing in that's for sure. However, there is a little bit of bright side. Obviously, in my opinion, one of the best players in the entire team this entire year, consistently having great games regardless if he scores or not, Quinton Byfield amazingly sits at 4th place with 46 points. He was on fire the past 19 games. He got 16 points, 6 goals, 10 assists. And honestly, as I will go on through the video, he also led in plus minus with plus 16. Plus 16 to lead the team throughout those last 19 games. That's incredible. No matter which line he played on, first or third with Dubois or Kopi, he led the charge. He controlled that line. So props to Byfield. I did mention it since back in preseason that he has been... there's a spark to his game this year. He's finally becoming the player that we asked him to be, and it's starting to show. The skill level is incredible. It was just a few games ago. It was actually 7 games ago. 7 games ago against the Blue Jackets, he had a goal of the year candidate in the NHL. That's unbelievable. The Kings are never highlighted like that, and yet Byfield had a goal of the year candidate. Obviously, just the other day, Nazem Kadri of the Flames had a goal that was, no offense to Byfield, of course, but it was better than his, so that one will probably obviously win that department. But Byfield is still showing a lot of skill, both offensively and defensively, and if he keeps this up, honestly, he could easily, be the strongest winger on the team, even though he's a centerman. Obviously, next up is Moore. Now, Moore is probably one of the more disappointing players on the team as far as production. Same thing with Deneau. Those two, outside of Fiala, they play together with Fiala every single game. However, for some reason, those two just can't score. We relied on them so much throughout the first half, and then the past 19 games, Moore, 11 points, 3 goals, 8 assists. Deneau, 8 points, 5 goals, 3 assists. If you exclude today's points, that's even less. So, a little disappointed in their production. They bring the forecheck, they bring the energy every single game, yes. But scoring hasn't been there, and that's kind of the reason why I'm a little disappointed with the team in general, because the top 6 are supposed to be the guys you rely on to score, right? And then with the center depth we should be able to rely on any line to do that. Unfortunately, the scoring has been very sporadic throughout the entire lineup. past 19 games. Again, like I said, in the past 19 games, Fiala has the team lead with 18 points, but everyone else is less. I would expect at least one player to be a point per game, if not, a few very close to the top. Production definitely has been down for everybody, but I guess that's coming out of January, so I guess that's excusable for that reason. But then you guys look at who's next on the list. At number 6 is Drew Doughty. Again, Doughty's having a phenomenal year. He has 14 goals on the season. That's pretty incredible, honestly. He is one of the leading defensemen in the NHL in scoring goals, by the way. I think it's Bouchard on top. I think Letang has some too. I forget who the leaders are, but he is in the top 5, guaranteed. And that's phenomenal. I mean, Doughty's only getting older. Kopi's only getting older. So it's kind of surprising that they can still bring all the skill level that they've had all their careers and continue to do the stuff they're doing. Overall, I love Doughty's game. Honestly, I can't really say there's many games that he has a bad game. And yes, he makes mistakes sometimes. I don't deny that. I'm not, giving him special treatment. He is one of the leaders, and I think overall he is the best defenseman on the team without a doubt. And it just goes to show, because he's scoring, and no other defenseman can say the same. If you guys look at the list, the next up is Roy with 18 points. 18 points, that's not a lot. He only got 5 points in the last 19 games. The other day he had a couple weeks ago he had a 10-shot game. 10 shots. How many goals did he get? 0. I don't like it when broadcasters praise, oh my god, this guy had 10 shots. That's incredible. He's a defenseman. Yeah, but how many of those went into the net? 0. Just because you shoot doesn't mean it's going to score. And, I don't want to be like one of those stupid fans that say, shoot the puck, right? You shoot for a reason. You shoot to score. You hit the net. Try not to shoot the goalie's chest right here in the middle, right? I mean, come on. If you're going to shoot a corner, at least make it close. And then if you're going to shoot for a rebound. Shoot into the pads. Make the goalie have to make a save. And for all you know, something might happen. If you're going to shoot and there's no one in your face, you better not shoot right dead center. These guys are professionals. You guys have to remember that. These are professionals. They're not amateurs. They're not... Pretty much everyone on this list is a veteran now. I don't care if you guys think I'm being hard on the Kings. I'm hard on them because I love them. And, as professionals who are being paid, money, you guys need to be able to shoot. Even if you're not a scorer, what are you in the NHL for if you're not here to score, right? Honestly. None of the Kings are like straight up fighters. And so that means we have to believe that they can score with a lot more effort. And Roy is one of those, Roy along with Gavrikov and Spence, those are the guys we need to rely on to score more goals. And unfortunately, they're not. So, as the points show, they are a little lackluster compared to Doughty. And then, of course, you guys are going to hear it again, right? In comparison, like I keep saying, every review, Sean Durzi traded to the Coyotes in 55 games. So he's played 6 games less than his team has in 61 games. In 55 games, he has 8 goals and 24 assists for 32 points. He is on a losing team. He is on a team he's on a new team. And yet, he still has second in points compared to the Kings defenseman. He was, at the time, the cheapest defenseman outside of Andreas Englund. So the fact that Durzi is still able to score at a high rate, and we got rid of him, no offense, but instead of Roy or Spence, I'm a little befuddled by it. And again, Brandt Clark is not producing either. I don't care. Brandt Clark is one of the AHL's best defensemen. Great, but it doesn't translate into the NHL, and it definitely hasn't shown that yet. I do see some bright sides. There is some good in his game, but I think because of the fact that he's on the third pairing usually, and you know, I think the shadow of these guys saying they're veterans and he's not, I think that demoralizes his confidence. Personally, I think that's the way it is. Again, we're paying Gavrikov 6.5 mil, and he's only got 16 points. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys, but that's pretty sad. Spence doesn't even have a goal this season. He has 16 assists. So, yeah, overall, you guys can look at the points on the screen. I mean, it's not where I think the players should have been. You know, I think, obviously, my biggest disappointment is in Dubois. You guys know how much I hate him and how disappointed I am. In the past 19 games, Dubois got 8 points, 4 and 4. Under coach Jim Hiller, which is 12 games of the 19, he only has 3 goals and 4 assists. 7 points in 12 games, so it's not great. Honestly, even the coaching change hasn't helped him. Great, he's more physical than he was. Sure, I've noticed that. And heck, he had one of the plays of the game for tonight's game against the Devils. I don't deny that. It was on the assist for Laferrier's goal. Great board play. But, again, he sucks. He enters the zone, turns over the puck. Passes to nobody. Can't win faceoffs. And it's just disappointing left and right that I just keep complaining about it. But it's the effort through the centerman that I am starting to wonder, do we need more help, you know? I keep telling myself that as the trade deadline's coming up, do we need more help? I don't think we do. Personally, I don't think the Kings should go do anything at the trade deadline. And if they do, they got to get a right-handed, even if it's a third-liner type of player, a right-handed shot, because we are short-handed on the right side. We have too many left-handed shots on the team, just way too many. Our power play is starting to get too predictable. Everyone's going to expect, hey, it's that left-handed one-timer, get ready for it. But that's the reason why I want Doughty to shoot it, or Fiala to shoot from the left side of the net, because that's where the goals are going in for the power play right now. And I hope the Kings see that, because if they keep trying to go for that one-timer, we're never going to score. Honestly, I don't even think we've scored many from that side this year. Maybe a few, most, but we'll see. Yeah. Overall, I have all the comparisons for all the players, their points. But again, I'm rambling on about the points. So let's go over to the goals real quick. So here's your goal leaders. Trevor Moore still leads the team with 23. It's good, but that's throughout the season. Like I said, Kempe should have been already a 20 goal scorer. If not, he should be close to 30, but he's not. So, disappointing season. Fiala, again, when we signed him a few years ago, I was expecting him to be a 20 to 30 goal scorer every single year. Apparently, that's not the case. And right now, he's sitting second place at 19. And I think that's okay. Personally, I think that's okay. His assists definitely make up for it. He's definitely a better playmaker than I gave him credit for, as the years have gone by. And I definitely, even after today's game, his breakaway goal, or breakaway pass to Deneau's first goal on the game, it's just phenomenal. I mean, I've seen Fiala do... I mentioned the player reviews during the summer that Byfield had some of the best passes I've ever seen. My goodness, Fiala is definitely giving Byfield a run for his money, because Fiala's passes are phenomenal this season. And while he's not scoring more goals than I thought he would, his passes are great. So his production is still there as far as scoring. He obviously leads the team, and that's great. I love it. But definitely needs to do all aspects of the game. Back checking still a slight issue. Just a little bit. He's definitely improved since the last time I criticized him about it. But, the second line in general, Fiala, Deneau, and Moore, needs to do more. Whether that's, Fiala scoring more points on his own, or if it's more in Dano working with Fiala and scoring points together, needs to do more. Overall, I'm actually happy with the production from Kopitar's goals, Byfield's goals. I mean, hey, look at Doughty. So that's great stats right there. Now, obviously, going down even further, Dubois at 13. I have to reiterate that he sucks at offense, but as I pointed out to my father at the Anaheim Ducks shootout winner, he's going to score the goal on the shootout. I told him that because there's no one to stop him. Dubois has a shot. I hate him. I don't like him. I give him criticism all the time. But he has a shot. He can score goals, but it's only if he has nothing in his way. His aim is great. However, he just can't shoot and score. And, he can't make a play. He can't one-time it. But if he can get a shot, one-on-one with the goalie, it works. And, it's like one of those things, like, I guess we got to string breakaways on him. But, of course, he's not the best skater. Always standing straight up, no knees bent. Yeah. Overall, he needs to do skating lessons or something. I'm not sure. He needs to skate harder. More effort is needed from Dubois. But goals, if he can get at least 7 more for a 20-goal season by the end of the year, I will give him a lot more credit than I've been giving him. But again, I'm not expecting him to even get 16, honestly. So, going down the rest of the list, obviously, as you guys can see, it's not very productive. Obviously, the biggest disappointment for me is coming from the defenseman. I have the total goals here. In this season, the defensemen only have 25 goals. That's 13% of the Kings' total goals scored. That's not a lot. In which of those 25, Doughty has 14 of them. Spence has 0. So where the hell is the goal scoring? I don't know. I really don't know. So that definitely needs to change. Roy and Gavrikov, because Mikey Anderson's out now. Obviously, he's not expected to score. But Spence, Roy, and Gavrikov, like I said before, they need to score goals. They need to step up their game, especially Spence and Clark, because they're quarterbacking the second power play unit, but they're not really doing anything. And honestly, today's game against the Devils, I was very, very disappointed in Spence's game. Honestly, he's probably one of the worst players of the game. Straight up. I was very upset with everything he did. Horrible passes, bad reads, kind of invisible also as the game went on. So Spence definitely needs to pick it up, because we got rid of Dursey and kept Spence for him. It's like I like Spence. I'm glad that he's on the team because he's Japanese heritage. But if you're not going to be good for the team, you don't deserve to be an NHL player, right? So definitely needs to work on that. Overall, the past so many games. I'm going to go over the goals real quick. So in the past 16 games, Moore only has 2. Fiala 6 out of 7 last games. Kempe 2 in the last 10 before he got injured. Kopitar 1 in the last 8. Byfield 1 in the last 9. Again, Kopi and Byfield, I know they're more playmakers, but they have the shot. They can score goals. Doughty 3 in the last 7. That's great. Again, power play's working for him. Dano, excluding his hat trick today, by the way, which all 3 goals are the first goals at home this season for him. That's disappointing. Outside of today, he only had 1 in the past 13 games. And then Dubois, 2 in the last 11. So, very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Don't know what to say about that much more than I already have, but I need to see more. I want to see defenseman goals. I want to see more offense coming from the top 6 specifically. Dubois, Lafreniere, and whoever plays on the other wing, I don't care. I don't care what the third line does. I am focusing on the top 6 forwards to do the job. They need to definitely pick up their game, especially since Kempe, who is expected to be our main goal scorer, is out, and we don't even know how long. And then Arvidsson's not coming back. The top 6, Byfield, Kopi, Moore, Fiala, Deneau, those 5 specifically, obviously because the last winger keeps changing with Kopi's line right now, those 5 need to score a lot more goals. And of course, I'm not going to give any excuses. 0 excuses for the fourth line. They need to score goals. We need secondary scoring. And again, like I've always said, I give Lizotte and Lewis 100% credit where credit is due. They are great on PK. Best PK duo on the team. They never, ever get scored on the PK. Not to mention the Kings are number 1 in PK in the team, or in the league. So it's not like all the other PK duos aren't great either, but Lizotte and Lewis, best PK duo on the team. Just look at the stats. Tell me I'm wrong, because I'm not. And I give them credit. However, they need to score more goals. The fourth line needs to score goals. They get too many chances sporadically throughout the past 19 games, and I don't even think they converted on one. And that's very sad, considering that the first 20 games, the fourth line was the second best line on the team, in my opinion. So, that's the goals. Let's move on. Plus minus. This is a big one because I like to see the production, obviously, from the top end players. At the halfway mark, Kempe led the team with plus 13, Kopi 12, and Mikey Anderson 11, Byfield 11, Spence, Doughty, and Moore with 8. Obviously, those numbers have changed. Byfield had a huge increase. He had a plus 5 increase, so now he leads the team at 16. Mikey Anderson, albeit has missed some games, he's second. Doughty, third with plus 12. I will give Roy credit for being on the ice for sure. I criticize his game a lot. However, yes, he has been a little bit more offensive as far as being able to keep pucks in the zone and break up things in the neutral zone. Defense, a little less effort there. I think his style of defense is starting to fall apart. He likes to do a one-touch kind of hit and push, but it leads to a lot of turnovers that he's not picking up on. And even though you take the body, you're not getting support from your other teammates, so no one's picking up the puck. Regardless that you took one guy out, someone else is there to pick it up, and I've noticed that a lot from Roy's game, especially in the past 19 games. So it's whether if it's Gavrikov or Roy, who is the normal second D pair, one of them is always on the ice when a goal is scored. So majority of the time, one of them is on the ice. So that's where I'm a little disappointed. But he did get a plus 3 increase since the halfway mark. Again, going down the list, it's a little upsetting that Kopi has lost 4 ratings. Kempe minus 6 since the halfway mark. Moore minus 2, Spence minus 4, and Gavrikov minus 5. So like I said, Gavrikov or Roy is one of them on the ice when the goals are scored against us. But because of the fact that Mikey Anderson's been out, Doughty has been partnered with Gavrikov a couple times. I've even noticed Gavrikov being partnered up with Clark at times. So the plus minus is fluctuating, and with Roy sometimes being partnered up with Gavrikov, Clark, or Spence even, as the teams keep changing the D pairs every game. Roy is benefiting, Gavrikov is not, and Gavrikov's being paid more. Again, like I said before, he needs to do more. He needs to put more effort in. He's the second highest paid defenseman on the team. Gavrikov needs to score more, if not pinch in more, offensively and defensively altogether. Definitely not showing that. At the halfway mark, we only had 5 players that had a minus. That was Fiala -1, LaFerriere -3, Dubois -10, by the way, and then Moverari -1, Clark -2. Moverari and Clark are an exception. They only had like 2 games each under their belt, so they don't count. But now, at the third quarter mark, we have multiple kings. Foggy Mo with -1, he doesn't count either because he hasn't played that many games, but what he has played is, without a doubt, disappointing. He's played 4 games, though. Grunstrom, -2. I know he's out, but still a minus. Again, no production from the fourth line. Sometimes he even moves up. Still nothing. Fiala, -2 still. He's the only one in this group that's an exception, though, because he plays empty net situations. So the minuses are going to come, regardless. So Fiala, I give the only exception to in this list. England, -3. I argued that him and Spence had a great chemistry going, but that's fallen apart. That's completely disappeared. Anderson Dolan, -4. Clark, -6. And then, of course, team leading line mates, LaFerriere, -11, and Dubois, -18. No surprise there. -18. That's another -8 rating since the halfway mark for Dubois. And he does not play empty net situations. So, I don't know what if you guys are still Dubois believers, you guys need to really rethink how you're watching the game, because it's not there. It's just not there. And I'm tired of people giving him credit and expecting him to eventually, break out. It's not happening. He doesn't fit the team. So, he's never going to be that player, and honestly, he needs to... I don't know. I don't know at this point. Obviously, Kings aren't going to trade him. He just needs to do something. He needs to change his game style. Overall, in the past 19 games, again, like I said, 10-7-2 record. That's basically 10-9. Goals for and goals against us, 52 each. So, it's even. So, 10 wins, 9 losses, 52 goals for, 52 goals against. It's even. We got to do better. That's why the plus-minus ratings are relatively, not high, but the lows are definitely showing up. Power play is probably the biggest contributors on the team right now, and even strength is just not our forte. Right now, we need to fix that, because playoffs are only in 22 more 22 more games. 22 more games before the playoffs. That's pretty insane. One other thing I want to look at for the forwards is the penalty minutes. Again, this is one of those things that, kind of disappoints me. Dubois leads the team in minor penalties in the past 19 games. He took 9 minor penalties. Otherwise, Fiala took 6. LaFerriere took 7. Roy took 7. By the way, the second quarter, Roy took 0 penalties from games 21 to 41. 0. And now he's taken 7. He's put himself back onto the list of penalty minutes. So, I don't know what to tell you. He may have a decent plus-minus, but he definitely is not helping the team with the penalties. So, a lot of disappointing things. Again, Fiala plus 12 penalty minutes in the past 19 games, so that's 6 minors. Not great. Obviously, he's second on the team. I don't know what it is with Fiala. He's taking so many penalties. Kempe, too, he takes so many penalties. Look at those guys. Outside of England, who leads the team, the next 3, they're not supposed to be in the box. They're not supposed to be in the box. It's disappointing. Obviously, Doughty leads the defenseman, besides England, with penalty minutes as well. So that's no exception either. I don't deny Doughty takes quite a few penalties. Albeit, his penalties are not as obvious, I won't say they're just like... I think he had no choice in most of them, that he had to do it, otherwise there's probably a goal against us, regardless that he gets scored on while he's in the box. So, Doughty, pretty good still. But yeah, overall, it's just something I noticed. But people who took 1 penalty in the past 19 games: Mike Anderson, Carl Grundstrom, albeit he's been injured. Philip Deneau, Blake Lizotte, who came back from injury as well. Spence, when he does get to play, and Anderson Dolan. And Anderson Dolan's been playing a lot lately, too. And then, of course, there's only one guy who took 0 penalties on the team in the past 19 games. You guys know who it is. It's Anze Kopitar, the captain. Of course it is. Best PKer, one of the best PKers on the team. Hence the reason why we're the best PK team in the league with 86%. Granted, I keep saying it every single game. We're only the number 1 because we love to go on the PK. We take so many penalties. Honestly, I don't know the numbers, but we have to be one of the leaders in penalties taken in every game, right? Like, I have to believe that at this point because we give up like 4 power plays every game, average, I say. And that needs to change. Come on, guys. Less minors. Especially you, y'all. Keep your head cool, right? Definitely need you on the ice. Yeah, I also want to take a look at, going on the PK, this list. This is a list of shorthanded goals for the Kings. The Kings' total shorthanded list. That's 2-2-2 for Moore, Lizotte, and Kempe. 1-1-1-1 for Kopi, Lewis, Anderson, Dolan, and Grundstrom. And 5 of these guys are PKers. That's the top 5, by the way. Moore, Kempe, Lizotte, Kopitar, and Lewis are the main PKers besides Deneau. The pairings, obviously, they switch up from time to time, especially with Kempe out. It's been switching. But main PK, Kopi, Kempe, and then Lizotte and Moore. Or sorry, Deneau and Moore, and then Lizotte and Lewis. And I've said before, I argue that Lizotte and Lewis is best PK duo. I definitely think the Kopi and Kempe duo is also decent, at least as far as offense. And then, of course, the Moore and Deneau has proven to pay dividends with shorthanded points. Right now, because of the injury to Kempe, Moore has been playing with, I think it was Moore who played with Kempe, or Moore with Kopitar, Deneau and Lewis. No, sorry. It's been Kopitar and Lewis, Deneau and Moore still, and then, of course, because Lewis went to partner with Kopi, Anderson Dolan has actually surprisingly gotten some PK time recently, and I'm actually happy with it. Personally, the past so many games, he's actually kind of impressed me. Now, obviously not in the way that he's scored anything, but it's still showing defensively, and I think as a 4th line role, that's definitely showing up, and it's making me happy about it, because I do think he needs to do more, but if he's going to be a bottom 6 player for the rest of his career, great, be a PKer, prove to me and other Kings fans that you can do it, because as the number 1 PK team in the league, it's actually great that he's doing it so good. So, with Kempe's injury, I'm happy with it. Honestly, I can't say anything more. We're great on PK. I just wish we weren't there all the time. Lastly, for the forwards, I just want to go over the face-offs. Here's the percentages. Obviously, your main 4 are the top: Kopitar, Deneau, Dubois, Lizotte. Lewis I added just because he has the next most face-offs taken, and while Lizzie was out, Lewis was also the guy taking face-offs too. So these are your main 5. So Kopitar obviously leading with a 55%. Deneau 50. All right, fine. I guess that's okay. Honestly, with how much praise Deneau gets for being a defensive centerman, he should have like a 52% at least, as a season average, but it's getting there. Lastly, Dubois, 49.4. Again, I can't say he's been winning many, but he has improved since the beginning of the season. I'll give him that. But, it's tough to climb out of that 40% and get into the 50s when you've already lost so many. Obviously, Blake Lizotte, 49%. Again, he gets a little bit more credit than Dubois because under Todd McClellan, he would go up against the opponent's top-line players after TV timeouts. Go rewatch games if you don't believe me. In fact, Bally Sports' Jim Fox and Nick Nixon, they've mentioned it many times. So, I know what I'm talking about. I give Lizotte much more credit than Dubois. So his 49% is a understatement of his game. Not to mention he has missed many games as well, so that percentage is a much smaller margin. But again, PK is a big thing. Regardless that he wins or loses the face-off, Lewis and Lazat still get it done on the PK. And that's a huge bonus for being bottom 6 players. Lastly, let's look at the goalies. I'm going to exclude Copley, who has been out with injury. That's season-ending surgery. Unfortunate. I'm going to miss him. Honestly, I loved him. You guys know that. But Talbot and Riddick have been doing their job. Honestly, I love the goals against average. I love the save percentages. That's good goaltending. That's good goaltending, straight up. Record, obviously, that's not good goaltending. Talbot with more losses overall than wins, that's bad. Riddick with a basically 9.7, that's okay. As the backup, obviously, Riddick's expected to kind of have those numbers, so it's good that he has 3 overtime losses compared to the regulation losses, but still needs to improve. Kings can win these games. They can. They really can. They just need to do a little bit more effort. Like I said, not Todd McClellan's fault. It's not Todd. Multiple times on today's broadcast on TNT, the broadcasters are like, the way the Kings played and the way the goaltending went, it got Todd McClellan fired. It made him lose his job. I think they also saw what I saw. It's a Kings team effort that allowed us to lose so many games. There wasn't a belief in the team throughout the months of December and January. But now, I see it a little bit. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's right there. And it starts with these guys on the back end, the goalies. And I think if these numbers stay the same that they are now, obviously with more wins, I think we can definitely make the playoffs and go for a run. We don't need goaltending. We don't. Everyone thought our goaltending was going to be trash. Even I thought the goaltending was going to be an issue. But I believed in Copley. I believed in Riddick after his preseason games. I didn't believe in Talbot, but he's proven me wrong. So I want to see it. I want to see them continue to do as good as they have been. And hopefully the team in front of them continues to get better. And we can win more games. So again, goaltending, not an issue. Not an issue whatsoever. Just don't go to shootout because we suck at shootouts. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's it for my season review of the Kings. Let's look at one last thing, the standings. So, looking at the standings, clearly there is a chance. There is a clear-cut chance that the Kings can actually get back into the Pacific Division. Like I said in the beginning of the video, or earlier in the video, I should say, the Kings are right there. Look at the Golden Knights. They're falling apart. And we have a game in hand on them, too. Yeah, it's really close. Look at all the teams. Even Canucks have been losing quite a bit of their games as well. The Central's pretty close. And then you look at the wildcard teams, Calgary, St. Louis, Minnesota. They're all right there. We are all in the mix. You never know how the last 22 games are going to go. And, looking at this, I'm just like, just imagine the Kings losing streaks, Just imagine if we won 1 or 2 here or there. Let's just say we won of the last 19 games, right? Let's just say we won 2 of them. That puts us in the division. And then we go back in through the top half of January and end December. 1 or 2 games here and there. Let's just say we get 3 of them. There were plenty of 1-goal games where we were leading, right? Let's just say we got those 3 wins. That's 6 more points. Look where we are now. It's just the fact that the Kings had no effort throughout that time period, and we lost so many. And as the standings show, we could be one of the best in the league still. But the second half was just not or rather the second quarter just wasn't there. And then obviously the start of the third quarter, it wasn't there. But like I said, I have a belief. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We will come out on top. I think we will end up in the Pacific Division spot. I think we can kick the Golden Knights out, guaranteed. And the top 3 teams will be the Canucks. I'm going to take it back. I think the Oilers will eventually pass the Canucks. I think McDavid and Draisaitl have been doing such a phenomenal job over there. I think they will take first. Oilers first place. Canucks second. Kings third. Golden Knights will be kicked to the wildcard spot, guaranteed. Honestly, I think the Predators have solidified their spot in their wildcard. I don't see any of the other bottom teams coming back. So, as the standings are now, these are the 8 teams that are getting in. Personally. Whether or not it's where they are now, that obviously will change. But these are the 8 teams. I don't think there's any question about it. Last time I went over the Eastern Conference, but I'm not going to go over the Eastern Conference. You guys, if you guys are a fan of the Eastern team, you guys know your own records, right? Again, I am happy about the results of the East. I like the Panthers are winning, the Bruins. The Caps are trying to get a playoff spot. That's my brother's other team besides the Kings. I'm rooting for them to do better, but obviously the Caps have Capitals have some issues on their team as well. A lot of injuries and older guys, including Ovechkin. If anything, who's to say that you are not rooting for Ovechkin to get close, if not beat Gretzky's goal records, right? I mean, there's no reason for you guys to say no. Ov is a legend, one of the greatest of all time. He's the Great 8, as he is nicknamed. You got to root for him. Yeah, that's going to be it for my third quarter season review. 22 games left. I really think we could do it. There's a lot riding on the Kings' performance going forward. And I've said it all season. It's an effort issue. The Kings need to put the effort in. TNT even said it right. If you have the center depth that we have with Kopitar, Deneau, Dubois, and then even Blake Lizotte, who they quoted as the Energizer Bunny. Todd McClellan said that, going all the way back to last year's playoffs. Lizotte, the Energizer Bunny. If you got a center line depth like that, and you build around that center line depth, you have a winger on each line. The team should win every game. And I think the Kings can be that team. It just depends, I think, on certain players if they want to get it done. I definitely think whoever the winger is that plays with Kopitar and most likely Byfield on the top line, they need to put the effort in and forget that Kopitar is a legend. You are playing on Kopi's line. In this case, Turcotte has been there. Forget the fact that he is a absolute Hall of Fame legend. You are playing on his line. You need to show up and play your hardest out there every single game. You are being relied upon to play on the top line on an NHL team. So whoever it is, you need to show yourself and be a part of that, the legend-making line, You need to be part of that. Kopitar is only getting older, and he's still playing at an elite level. Now's the time to keep doing it. Same thing with the second line, Deneau and Moore. Been a pair ever since they came to the team. And whether if it's Fiala or not, you guys those two specifically got to keep contributing throughout the rest of the season. Again, they haven't been scoring the past 19 games, excluding obviously today with Deneau's hat trick. But if they can keep going, I definitely think the top 6 is perfect, honestly. Obviously going to the third line and fourth lines, Dubois and LaFerriere, they need to do better. They have a huge minus to get rid of, to delete from their records. And I'm not expecting them to score a shit ton of goals. I won't lie. Like I said, I don't expect Dano to get more than 3. I don't expect Lefebvre to even get more than 1. But I want to see the plus minus get up. That's the biggest thing. I want to see that get up. And whoever the winger is on that line, make them better. Byfield went down to that line. He's made them better from time to time. I want to see whoever goes on that wing to do better. And if not them, go get a winger before the trade deadline. We got half a week left at this point. You gotta go get someone if that's the case. A right-handed shot, please. And then, of course, the fourth line. Like I said, no exceptions. 0 excuses. I am very disappointed in the fourth line performance, even strength-wise. Again, Lizotte, Lewis, whether if it's Anderson, Dolan, Grundstrom, Kaliev, I don't care who it is. They need to do secondary scoring. It's one of the biggest reasons why we were winning games in the beginning of the season. And if you guys look at the point comparisons from then to now, very, 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 very few. I mean, that's 2 quarters now. That's half a season ago. And all of them combined don't have many points, regardless of injuries. So if those guys can pick it up, even just a tiny bit, 1 goal here or there every game, you know? Like if we got 1 goal from the fourth line every single game this season, I mean, that's just that 1 goal games. Suddenly we win them. Or maybe if we even have the lead, that's the dagger. You're getting the fourth line scoring the dagger that demoralizes the opponents. You know, it changes the whole mindset of the game. And if they can do that, I'd be very happy going forward. Again, 22 games left. Come on, fourth. You guys got to at least get 10, 12 goals, right? Surely? There's 5 of you. Well, yeah, there's 5 of you. If they're all still on the team, right? Anderson, Dolan, Kaliev, Lizotte, Lewis, and... Well, I said 5, but... Grundstrom's injured, too. Yeah, overall, whoever plays, it doesn't matter. Whoever's in the bottom 6, if you guys can score goals, will be that much better. And then lastly, obviously, the defense. No excuses as well. Doughty's the only one pinching in, so where are the other guys? Clark, Spence, expecting goals. You guys are offensive defensemen. Show up and do the work. Gavrikov and Roy, I want to see more defense, less penalties. And, of course, England, kind of doing the same thing he's doing all these season, just the defense has been a little lacking the past so many games, but still a solid performance overall. So, there you go. That's my 3rd quarter season review, and I think I'm going to leave it there. So, hopefully going forward, 22 games. Let's recap. Kings need to win majority of them. I want to see them get into the Pacific Division spot. Not the wild card, the Pacific Division spot. I want to see more goal production from specifically the top 6. I want to see better defense from the bottom 6. And more production in general from the defensemen. Goaltending, remain the same. If we can get all that to remain constant, we will win games. We will go farther in the playoffs. And with a little bit of luck, you know, I don't know the severity of any injuries, but with a little bit of luck, Arvidsson can come back healthy this time. Kempe can go back healthy and ready to play in the playoffs. And who knows, maybe even Grundstrom will come back and be back in this first quarter performance form. Hopefully. And if not, then hopefully whoever we get at the trade deadline will boost our team. If we get somebody. I'm not saying we will, but we definitely need a right-handed shot. We need more right-handed shots on the team. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. Comment down below what you guys thought. Again, just my opinions. Don't hate on me. I'm harsh on the Kings because I love them and I want them to win. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And, of course, share the channel if you guys can. 3rd quarter season review over. 1 quarter left, and then the playoffs. Be sure to keep up with any content I do post on the Kings, as well as anything else. But for now, that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.